Hi everyone, please let me introduce the Terenure College Rugby Football Club's first 15 head coach Skehan. Sean, thank you for your time today. I'm in no doubt the Terenure community and the wider rugby community will be very interested to hear from you as we kickstart another enthralling season of AIL rugby. First of all, I do want to congratulate you on your recent marriage to the lovely Aisling. Do not worry, by the way, I will not ask you which day was more exciting, the AIL final or your wedding day. Congratulations also actually on your recent appointment to the senior cup team in the school also. I understand you did a brilliant Tour de France which you came back from last week. Just kicking off, Sean, just I know we've a wide audience here, and just so for the people that do not know you, can you tell us briefly, as you enter your fourth season with us, how you came to land in Terenure College Rugby Football Club?
Yeah, I started coaching 6 years ago, I think, now this year, in Glenstone Abbey in Limerick. I was teacher in school and director of rugby, and there was just, our coaching staff had departed, so there was a vacancy there and I appointed myself. So the interview process was relatively easy, and loved that, coached there for a couple of years. From that got a gig with Gary Owen, which was kind of my grounding in the AIL. Worked with a really good coaching team there. And then got involved with Munster underage, really good mentors down there. Greg Oliver, Mark Butler looked after me, and then from that, when obviously my wife now, we were beginning to get serious, so we were planning on what we'd do, and I'd kind of decided I was going to relocate back to Dublin. The Terenure job became available, I applied, and through a rigorous interview process, managed to come and get the job. So that's what has me here.
And happier than ever.
Happier than ever, of course.
Well, I better get this right, but looking a bit back on last season, right? So J1 League and Cup double, Leinster Senior Cup winners, AIL finalists, which we touched on, Energia Club Scene Podcast Club of the Year, great lads by the way, and the Leinster Senior Club of the Year. I suppose from a first squad point of view, firstly, congratulations. And secondly, more importantly, what plans have you got, or what can we do to attempt to go one better this season?
Yeah. Well, look, obviously we didn't win it. Unfortunately, if you lose the last game of the season, season hasn't gone as successfully as we'd liked. All the plaudits and the stuff that we did manage to do was great, but definitely turned the page now. I think we've got to be probably doubly hungry now this season, just given the nature of how we performed last year. There's probably more of a target on our back. Teams are really going to raise their level and be excellent themselves. So in terms of going one step further, we've managed to bring Paul Byron to the coaching staff for this year. We've obviously been busy on probably roster construction, retention and recruitment, and we have a really good squad to begin with, so the couple of guys that we have brought in I think will add a huge amount of value. And then it's just trying to make sure we just refine things, get a little bit better in all the areas that we were strong in last year, a couple of our weaknesses that we can turn them into strengths. So yeah, obviously the goal is to try and win it. I know another 9 teams that have that goal as well, so it'll be very difficult, but that's the mark of, I think, success for us, would to try and be AIL champions, but it's obviously an incredibly competitive league. So but all the work that the club are doing and that we're trying to do to put ourselves in a position, we'll certainly give it a good crack.
Brilliant. Just in your own opinion, moving on to different, I suppose the last 4 seasons, and obviously a couple of them were disrupted by COVID, but would you have had a favourite try scored by our first 15 during your time here, and why you might have chosen it?
Yeah, it'd probably be semi-final this year with Adam LaGrue's try. Game was very topsy-turvy. Lansdowne had gotten a bit of scoreboard pressure on us and they'd taken the lead last couple of minutes of the game. Your season's in the balance there. We'd obviously never been to a final. Lansdowne very familiar with semi-finals and coming out on the right side of them. And Boomer had come on, magic sub, made a big impact, line break. We were actually pretty stacked to go on. We were going the same way, and Adzi just came out of nowhere, and flew onto it like a rocket, scored. Knew he was going to score as soon as he got it. Great feeling, and then you were kind of just willing the game to finish. Obviously we managed to get on the right side of that one, but that was definitely probably the best try, I'd say.
Lovely. And you have to listen to this question really clearly, right? Your favourite moment since you joined Terenure.
Yep.
That can be on and off the pitch potentially, but this is the important thing. You are not allowed to say when you first started your bromance with our director of rugby, Ian Moggy Morgan. But your favourite moment?
That's a love-hate relationship. But yeah, with probably a few come to mind. My first season beating Clontarf in Castle Avenue. We went down to 14 men, had a red in the first half. had a couple of yellows. Tarf have been so brilliant as a club for years. To win on their ground meant a lot for us. Now, we didn't sustain that level that season, but I think it was a big step in the right direction for us. And then I think last year beating Con away, just have huge respect for Con as a club. They're always going to be championship contending, to go down there and beat them on their own ground. They don't give up those wins easily. It meant a lot to us. And then probably Lansdowne away when we beat them last season in the league, because they're the big three clubs. They have been the last decade. They've monopolised the AIL, the final, and I think beating them on their own turf, that's the real mark, I think, of a really good championship contending team. And to have beaten all three of them on their own home patches in the last couple of years, for us, I think, was a real evolution as a club, and they were definitely, I think, the sweetest victories and the best moments, best memories.
And would you like to at all give our audience an explanation of why one of your nicknames is now called the Bish, or will we move on from that?
I don't even know myself, so yeah, if you can fill me in.
I can't, but we'll leave that for the next Terenure TV session. Back to a more slightly serious question, and I know you've touched on it a bit already, but as we look forward to a new season, what teams do you think will provide our sternest challenge? And I suppose, although we all probably know the answer, what are the squad's goals for this season?
Yeah, well, I think, look, it's going to be a really, really competitive league. You've 9 really good teams. Obviously, those big three of Con, Tarf and Lansdowne. Lansdowne's 150th year. Tarf are looking to go back to back. Con won't be satisfied. And then the teams who missed the playoffs or didn't feel that they went as well last season, Shannon come up. It'll be competitive. It'll be tough every week. That's the nature of AIL 1A. You're never going to have a soft game. Schedule's really, really tough. So I think, you've just got to respect. Each AIL game is a massive entity in of itself, and you're going to have to be good 18 weeks, 18 match days. You're going to have to bring your best effort, because if you don't, you're slightly a bit off. You can really struggle. In terms of the goals for the season, obviously you can never, we want to win it, of course, but you can never say for definite one way or the other. You just want to be competitive, that you put yourself in a situation. Last year, we were 6 points off, we were with off score. Hopefully we can put ourselves in a situation this year where we have an opportunity to win the game at last play. I'd take that if you offered it to me. We want to try and play, again, a really attractive brand. We want to have a brilliant environment for our players on and off the park. We want to be as engaged with the community as we possibly can be. We want to try and keep developing our own Terenure pathway players. It's been unbelievable in the pre-season to see a couple of kids straight from the school play first team. And we've got Craig Adams training with Leinster at the moment. We'd love to see a few guys kick into professional game if they could. So there's a few things. They're all very important, each one independently, and I think collectively then puts us in a good position. So multi goals, obviously, you want to try and win as many pots as you can when you're here in the club, and that'll be certainly one of the markers. And
how's the squad looking currently, and how has pre-season been so far?
Yeah, roster constructions. We main focus was obviously to retain as many players as we could. We felt we had a really, really good squad last year. You talk about the strength of our seconds. They were Metro double champions, and that Metro one's an incredibly tough level. So want to keep all them, and I feel in the large part we've managed to keep the roster intact. And then the fellas that we have brought in. I think we were very calculated in the guys that we went after. We wanted players who we thought would move the needle for us. To bring Marcus, John, Chuck in from Leinster, I think it's going to really, really help us. Sean McNulty, Matt Bowen, Barry Galvin. I think we've got top players in that are going to add to what's already a really, really good roster. So I think it makes us really, really competitive. Hopefully at first and seconds level, real good competition for places. Callum Smith at 10 as well. So I just think hopefully, from pre-season perspective, it's been tougher than last year. Obviously, no COVID curtailment, so lads are away a bit more. We've had a couple of games, thankfully got a few wins under the belt, but we just really want to pick up steam now. We're going into the D6 Derby in 10 days. That game in of itself is always a massive one for the people around here and for the boat club. So I think that will really, really focus us, and hopefully we can get a good springboard into the AIL then. Yeah,
and obviously John O'Connell's from half joining, and I think the fan favourite Craig Terenure returning from Harlequins is a big move for us. But the next one, you've touched on it again, but how important is the actual overall Terenure community and the I suppose, the Terenure supporters in our efforts to go one step further this year?
Yeah, massive. I think they've been probably the point of difference here since I've come here. Club community atmosphere is just incredible. Like, you know, it's a when I try to explain Terenure to other people, you know, you try to like say it's like, well, it's pretty mad, but you know, it's like a community GAA club or something like that. So the crowds that we had last year, but we'd hope to be a really, you know, good option for families at the weekend, that they'd like to come here and watch the rugby that's on. I think the atmosphere, the environment is very open, and I think it's something that gives you a great day out. And you know, they were the difference. Like, you look at that AIL semi-final, there was 3,000 or 4,000 people down here, massive lunch, carnival atmosphere. You know, it was like electric picnic this weekend, but it was like that for 2 weeks. And you know, it's just a huge testament to all the work that goes on off the pitch. Like, you know, we have a thriving mini section. You know, we have great people working in the committees and executives, and you know, great youths, girls. You know, the Terenure Tigers, our mixed ability team, and then, you know, the fact that we have so many teams at men's level. You know, so that community, I think harnessing the community here is definitely our biggest secret ingredient, and we're going to be incredibly reliant on every club member or supporter to help us hopefully this year go that step further, as you said. And
Sean, final question, and only one answer please. Where will you be on Sunday, May 7th, 2023?
Hopefully back in the Aviva. Amazing experience last year to be there. You know, it is probably something that once you've got it banked, maybe the spectacle of it was, I don't think it was too much for us, because the game is in the balance of the last play. So if you do that, you know, and Tarf are obviously a brilliant team. So, but I think having experienced it, I think we'd definitely be better prepared for it across the board. Coaches, players, management. I think we'll all, you know, Tarf have been living in that environment for 10 years, and they've obviously had stumbles and finals, and I think, you know, they've probably lost more finals than any team in the AIL, and that's just testament to how resilient they are. They come back and they get their just reward. So yeah, we'd love to be there, and also, you know, to celebrate it properly and win it this time. Obviously last year, you know, you fall short, and it's a very bittersweet emotion post game. You know, you're obviously very proud of everybody's efforts across the club to get to that position, and I think the club, you know, represented themselves incredibly well in terms of the crowd and the atmosphere and everything like that. But you know, it's all for naught really. It's done between the whistles. So we'll just try and be that bit better this year, and hopefully put ourselves in a position where you know, we can obviously win a first AIL here for the club. Would be massive, and that's definitely the ambition and the hope.
Great. Well, thanks a million, Sean, and huge best of luck to you, the team, the backroom staff. We're all behind you.
Thanks very much, Hamo. Cheers.